Imagine trailing your bitter rivals for 57 agonizing minutes, staring a brutal defeat right in the face, only for a savior quarterback to unleash a 46-yard moonshot into the night sky to snatch victory from the jaws of hell. That was the absolute, unadulterated madness of our football team over the past year, a roller coaster of raw emotion that shattered hearts and rebuilt them in the span of mere seconds. Get ready, because we are counting down the top 5 most jaw-dropping, heart-stopping moments that defined an unforgettable era of gridiron history. Before we dive into the countdown, make sure to smash that like button, share this video with your fellow diehard fans, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another breakdown. Let's take a collective breath and look back at what we just witnessed, because the past season was nothing short of a psychological thriller. Have you ever seen a team defy the football gods so many times in a single calendar year? It felt like every single weekend was a grueling test of our cardiovascular health, a beautifully chaotic journey where ultimate disaster and legendary glory were separated by mere inches. We fought through the agonizing memories of past collapses, stared down the skeptics, and proved to the entire league that the culture has completely shifted. This wasn't just a standard football season, it was an emotional exorcism for a fanbase that has suffered through decades of heartbreak. Let's kick things off at number 5, taking a trip out to the desert sands of Las Vegas where the stakes could not have been higher. The momentum was building after an absolute masterclass blowout win against Dallas in Week 3 to get our first taste of life, but heading on the road to face a dangerous squad with both teams sitting at 1-2 meant this was a defining fork in the road. Whoever walked out of that stadium victorious would claw their way back to a perfectly balanced 500 record, while the loser would slide into a dark hole of early season panic. The clock is ticking down, the tension in the stadium is thick enough to cut with a knife, and out steps Daniel Carlson for a massive 54-yard field goal attempt from the left hash. This is a guy with 7 career game winners on his resume, a stone-cold assassin in clutch moments who rarely blinks when the lights are brightest. Even if he makes this kick, there are barely over 30 seconds left on the game clock, leaving our offense practically no margin for error to mount a response. The stadium goes dead silent as the kicker takes his steps back. The snap is back, the hold is down, the leg swings through, and then, pure, unadulterated ecstasy. Josh Blackwell rises up like an absolute superhero, extending every single fiber of his being to get a hand on the football. Blocked. The ball is loose, spinning wildly on the turf, sending the entire sideline into an absolute state of unbridled hysteria. Screams echoed through the stadium, tears of joy were shed in the stands, and a wave of pure relief washed over every single person wearing the team colors. It was a pivotal, season-saving play that proved this roster possessed a gritty, never-say-die attitude. Later in the year, we looked back and realized we shouldn't have been sweating out a nail-biter against that team, but in that exact moment, Josh Blackwell saved the day and altered the entire trajectory of our year. Moving on to number 4, let's talk about sweet, poetic revenge in our nation's capital. If you remember the devastating, soul-crushing Hail Mary loss from the previous year, you know just how deeply that wound cut into the psyche of this team. That single play had completely derailed an entire season, sparking a catastrophic 10-game losing streak that left the franchise in absolute ruins. So when the schedule brought us back to Washington, the atmosphere was thick with tension and a desperate, burning craving for redemption. The game itself was a wild, messy affair where we completely controlled the narrative early on, only to let a disastrous third quarter let the opposition right back into the contest. But the football gods work in mysterious ways, and justice was finally served. Jaden Daniels mishandles a crucial handoff exchange with Krosky Merritt, a chaotic fumble that shifts the universe back in our favor. A few critical, hard-fought first downs later, the stage is set for absolute drama. Jake Moody steps up from 38 yards out with the entire game on the line. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it is absolutely, beautifully good. A 25-24 victory, the exact same scoreline that haunted us previously, but this time, we turned the tables completely. The sheer emotion of overcoming that adversity, escaping Washington with a victory, and watching their season completely collapse into a tailspin where they lost 10 of their last 11 games was pure, unadulterated euphoria. That brings us to our official question of the day, And I want everyone to stop what they are doing right now and type their answer in the comment section below. Which of these two cardiac arrest-inducing wins felt more satisfying to you, the miraculous field goal block in the desert, or the sweet revenge of the game-winning kick in Washington? Drop your thoughts right now because the debate in the comments is going to be absolutely legendary. Now, let's break into the top 3, and this next one is an absolute masterpiece of individual brilliance, standing alone as the only play on our list that occurred in a losing effort. We find ourselves in the high-stakes pressure cooker of the postseason, the divisional round of the playoffs against the Los Angeles Rams. The entire season is dangling by a terrifyingly thin thread on a 4th and 4. The Rams' defense is disguised, showing an aggressive, exotic blitz look at the line of scrimmage, threatening to blow up the play before it even starts. The ball is snapped, a ferocious 4-man rush penetrates the pocket, and Caleb Williams is forced to drift backward. The pocket completely collapses around him. He is swallowed up, or so everyone thought. In a display of sheer athletic wizardry, Williams spins completely out of danger, retreating way behind the original line of scrimmage, facing impossible odds. With defensive linemen closing in to deliver a crushing blow, he does the unthinkable. He launches a desperate, high-arching prayer into the sky. And out of nowhere, Cole Kmet climbs the ladder, hauling in his very first catch of the entire game in the most clutch moment imaginable. The stadium erupted into pure noise, a touchdown that defied all laws of physics and kept the dream alive. It earned him the nickname of the Iceman, a quarterback who simply refuses to freeze under pressure. Even though the night ended in heartbreak during overtime due to a tragic miscommunication between Caleb and DJ Moore, that single play will be replayed for decades as a symbol of our team's relentless spirit. At number 2, we look at an unforgettable playoff comeback that will live rent-free in the heads of our biggest rivals forever. We are talking about an epic postseason showdown against Green Bay. The narrative all offseason had been filled with endless cope from their fanbase, but on this day, the historic rivalry was reborn with a vengeance. After a brilliant sequence where DJ Moore found the end zone to capture a late lead, our defense was tasked with making a final, monumental stand to seal the glory. It all came down to a desperate 3rd and 15. Jordan Love drops back, but the pressure is immediate and suffocating. He completely fumbles the exchange on the snap, scrambling in a state of utter panic, rolling heavily to his left. The clock is melting away, and he has no choice but to chuck a blind prayer toward the end zone. Montez Sweat is bearing down on him like a heat-seeking missile, applying furious pressure that forces an ugly, dying duck of a pass. The ball hits the turf harmlessly. Incomplete. Game over. The ultimate comeback was complete. Caleb Williams and the offensive mastermind Ben Johnson had done it, orchestrating a historic victory that marked our first postseason win in nearly 15 years. Sending our rivals packing to Cancun while watching their entire fanbase dissolve into a puddle of excuses was a beautiful sight that proved we are firmly entrenched inside their heads. Finally, we have arrived at the undisputed number 1 moment of the year, an absolute legendary 3-part thriller that took place on the sacred, frozen tundra of Green Bay. For 57 grueling minutes, our team played an objectively dreadful football game, looking completely outmatched and left for dead. But then, the extraordinary happened. Against all mathematical odds, we execute a flawless, miraculous onside kick, recovering the loose football to give ourselves one final, desperate gasp of life. Facing a daunting 4th and 4, the Packers dial up an all-out blitz pressure look. Caleb Williams drifts back, displaying ice-cold composure under immense duress, and fires a pass off his back foot to the end zone. In a moment of pure magic, John A. Walker climbs the ladder, making an unbelievable contested catch to score a shocking touchdown. The unsung hero had answered the call. But the drama wasn't done. With the game resting on a knife's edge, Ben Johnson dips deep into his playbook, unveiling a masterful 13 personnel play-action post route. Caleb Williams executes the fake, steps up into the pocket, and unleashes an absolute, beautiful rainbow downfield. DJ Moore tracks the ball perfectly in the night air, making the catch of his absolute life from 46 yards out to secure the walk-off touchdown victory. It wasn't just the moment of the year for our franchise. It was arguably the single greatest, most dramatic finish in the entire history of the National Football League. A truly magical ending to an unforgettable season that bridges the gap into a highly anticipated future. As we turn the page to a brand new year, the memories of these battles will fuel the fire for what promises to be an even wilder ride ahead.